Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of the Educational AD podcast and our Toolbox Extra. We'll be right back with this week's guest, but as always, we're going to give a shout out to all of our sponsors. You heard me say before, these are all great companies. I used every single one of them. You should be using them too. So let's take 3 minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our Toolbox Extra guest, then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Hometown. Hometown is changing the game for schools and organizations with their suite of solutions for things like digital ticketing, fee-free fundraising, athletic websites, and a whole lot more. Whether you're an athletic director, a coach, or a school administrator, Hometown makes it easy for schools like yours to save time, raise more money, and bring your community together. Learn more at hometown.com. That's hometown.com. We also want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and let their team show you how to create world-class content for your social media site. Whether it's a simple post to celebrate a big victory or an entire newsletter to share all the great things your program is doing for the community, the team at Hometown will have you up and running in no time. It's so easy, even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com for more information. We also want to thank our friends at Snap. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and then been disappointed in the results? Well, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. It's hands down the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school with great success. Our coaches loved it. Our parents loved it because it works. Go to snapraise.com. Check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it. It's snapraise.com. We also want to say thank you to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Now, my assistant athletic director, along with thousands of others, got his master's at Ohio University, and it was a great experience. It's very affordable, just 20 months. And while he was completing his master's degree, he also completed 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Go to Ohio University, check out their online masters in athletic administration. We also want to thank Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Check out their great products today. We want to thank Athletic Surveys. You know, ADs already get a lot of feedback, but most of the time it's from a small group that just wants to complain. Athletic Surveys will connect you to that group so you can hear those concerns and hopefully address them. But they're also going to connect you to the 98% of your stakeholders that love what you're doing. And having that type of data in your hands is incredibly valuable, especially when you're visiting with that frustrated parent, maybe your principal, or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. We'd like to thank Home Campus. Home Campus is a platform you're going to use every single day, whether it's scheduling, rosters, results. For me, the athletic clearance and eligibility platform alone is worth the price. Go to homecampus.com for more information. That's it, homecampus.com. We'd like to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Go to their website and check out their interactive touchscreen video consoles. I'm telling you, if you put one of these in your gym lobby or your main hallway at your school, it's going to be a magnet for kids, for coaches, parents. How about alumni and sponsors? Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check out their great products today. And we want to say thanks to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. As an AD, I made sure that we were a Huddle school. And our coaches, all of our coaches, just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Our kids loved the videos, and our parents loved the streaming, but there's so much more. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. Welcome back, everybody, to another segment of the Educational AD podcast and a special series that we're calling the Toolbox Extra. We've got somebody I like to call a friend of the show. Stephanie Splater is going to be presenting today. Listeners of the podcast probably remember Stephanie's episode a while back. Just a great one. If you missed it, go back and listen. Stephanie has a tremendous background in athletics as an athlete, as a coach, as an administrator. She is the executive director of activities and athletics for the Spokane, Washington School District. And we're excited to have her share on the Toolbox Extra. Stephanie, welcome back to the podcast.
Great, Jake. Thanks so much for having me again.
Oh, no, absolutely. Um, it's that cusp of end of winter and the start of spring sports. So it's probably one of the busiest times for ADs. I'm just going to get out of the way. What do you have for our listeners on this segment of Toolbox Extra?
Absolutely. Well, thinking about that, we are sort of a little bit halfway through our year here in Spokane schools, and we have started something in the last couple of years, which is we are doing in-house coaches professional development. So we support them going to other clinics, other state associations, but we tried it out last year, had 60 people show up in August, and we just got finished with our mid-year coaches training. So our coaches here in Washington need to get three to five sessions, 5 hours actually of coaches education, and we decided why not do it ourselves. And so I was fortunate to be able to get to present to 30 of our coaches last week, and we were talking about what takes your program from being a successful, good place for kids to be all the way to a championship level. Not only X's and O's, not only win-loss record, but what makes your program above and beyond and providing the best experience for kids. And so we really dove into how to be a program builder, how to be a culture builder, and how are you shaping the experience throughout the year, not just during the season. So heading into the spring season, we start early March here in the Pacific Northwest, which we are melting fast, so that's good around here for all of the spring sports. But spring sports especially have so many different details and so many different pieces to put together when we talk about track, golf, fast pitch softball, baseball, track, all of the things, boys soccer that we're doing around here. We just wanted to share with coaches what are those things that are going to take your program to the next level. So the first thing around our school district right now is fostering a sense of belonging. So we want kids to feel like they're a part of something. So sports naturally provide that environment for athletes. How do we get them to come back? I was always gauging my success on the track and as a track coach. Do the kids come back? So first year we had 65, second year we had 80, third year we had 90, and the fourth year we had that magic 100. And I knew that that was because we were building something really special. So fostering that sense of belonging. So what does that mean with your team culture? What are we doing to develop leaders over time? It's not just the seniors who are always great leaders for the team, but identifying those leadership roles is super important. Creating that welcoming environment. So in a sport like track, you've got a kid who's interested in jogging all the way up to a state level 2-miler and everything in between, and people who are learning at different rates. And so track naturally creates that welcoming environment, but how can we do that at all levels and all sports? Here in Spokane Public Schools, we are so fortunate. We do have if you want to join, you get a place on a team philosophy. So you'll notice I didn't say we have a no-cut policy. We have a philosophy that if you want to do athletics in Spokane schools, we will find a spot for you. We'll provide the facility and we'll provide the coaches. And where the coaches come in, we want high-level thinkers that are also creating high-level experiences for our kids. And as we know, in athletics, part of being that is not just what you're doing on the court, on the field, on the track, but what do you feel like when you're around your teammates? So we dove deep into our coaches clinic last week into what are these experiences that the athletes would say when they leave your program was something they remember? Sure, the trophies, sure, the big success moments, but it was frequently the team dinners. We had a really great spaghetti feed with both our boys and girls program when I was a head track coach, and it was just cool. Our parents put it on, and where we had 200 kids out there in our track program, I bet you 192 were at that spaghetti feed. And so creating those experiences and that fostering a sense of belonging is something that definitely is a building block for creating a great program. Something I mentioned in our other episode that we talked about, Jake, was learning your sport. So we have a really successful football team around here, and they in the recent years, and they are doing football school. So even though they're a really successful team on the field, they're doing football school to learn more about the actual sport. So we talked about at our clinic last week, what are you doing to make sure that your athletes understand the sport? So not just that you're here, you're showing up, you're doing what you're told. What are all the other positions doing? In track, there's a team score. Nobody knew that on my team when we were really getting going towards being a championship mentality. What is it? What are the high jumpers working on? What are in basketball? Coached a really high level ninth grade team once. And so I had to figure out, what do these girls need to know? They've played for 5 years. They have done a lot of AAU. What would these girls need to know? Well, it turns out what they needed to know was analytics, because analytics plays a pretty big part in basketball, and they were ready for it because that was the level of expertise that they had as ninth graders, as much as you can have as a ninth grader. But just figuring out what is important as far as learning the sport, because that can be part of the fun. Also increase some of those belonging opportunities and those engagement opportunities that I talked about in the last topic. Taking time out of practice to actually learn the sport was something that was really key, and I think is super important part of building a championship level program, and also gets the kids engaged. When you're an expert on something, you enjoy doing it, I think, and I think the kids learning the sport has been something that's super cool. That football school is highlighted for us in that program. They're good athletes. They're really well coached. They're an awesome program. You can tell they beat people on the field because they know more about the game. And that's something that I've taken away, both as a coach and as a overseer of athletic directors and programs, that has been really important. So learning the sport. We have a basketball team in the area that I would say is on the rise, boys basketball team. And I frequently drive by that school on my way home. Kids are in the classroom watching film, breaking it down, learning about the sport. And you can tell they beat some people this year that they probably shouldn't have, but they also had that team bonding experience at the same time. There were snacks on the desks during that film session, and they were having a good time, but they were also learning. So learning the sport, I think, is pretty important in building a championship level program. Wouldn't be a championship level program if it wasn't centered around great collaboration with the people who could help move your program forward. So this ended up being a longer segment at our coaches clinic than I would have anticipated, because sometimes they don't know. They think, oh, I don't want to bother the athletic director. You need to bother the athletic director. They're the number one person who can help you move your program forward. Talk about things, dream big, talk about what you need to succeed. Discuss with them, send them an email, send them a text. They want their coaches to be in touch. And some of the coaches I was working with the other day had big eyes about that. And they said, they're not too busy. No, they're your number one advocate. And then second, what about your school system? Don't make assumptions, because a school system might be able to help you in ways that you didn't even know. Sometimes we try not to skip steps. And so that athletic director is your first line. I know when I became a coach, my dad said, get to know that athletic secretary and the head custodian first, because they are people who can help move your program forward. They're very important to creating that welcoming atmosphere and to you having a championship level program. So getting to know the people who can help move your program forward, learn from others. No matter where you are on the experience spectrum, there's always a little something that you can pick up. And so collaborating with others, and then delegate with trust and organization. So figure out the people around you that you can trust and you can delegate to. Biggest piece of advice I got this year, I was tearing my hair out in October. I was so busy and I was feeling like I couldn't get any traction with anything I was doing. Fall sports was in full swing. We had a lot going on in Spokane schools, and I was feeling like out of control. And I said to someone who I'd consider a mentor and a friend, we've developed that rapport over the years. I said, I think I have a time management issue. And she said, you don't have a time management issue, you have a delegation issue. And I thought, that is something. And so that has stuck with me all year. So as a head coach and as a person who's in charge of running a program, figure out who you can trust to delegate things to. We don't need death by 1,000 paper cuts all the time. We need to be working on things that are going to move our programs forward. Sometimes your energy may be that you need to be in the halls at school, either recruiting kids to be in your program or to just talk to them, to know what they're doing. I think about, I had a lot of drill team, dance team athletes on my track program the year that we were at the championship level and building up to that. I made sure I was at those events. And that was really important. Yet, how do you have time to do everything? Well, in future years, I shared with my assistants, hey, we've got girls in drama, we've got girls in dance and drill. We've got a point guard on the basketball team who's also going to anchor our 4x1. We need to be out there supporting what they're doing. And so it wasn't just me. So I was delegating, and sure enough, my staff would show up because that's fun. Because if you're involved in athletics at all, you want to be around other kids' activities. But it took me figuring out I don't have to be there all the time, but we're sure going to have a representative of our program there to support the kids because it contributes to the overall morale and well-being of our program. So I think we talk about collaboration a lot. We talk about learning a lot and doing professional development, but I think connecting with the people who can move it forward, connecting with your athletes throughout the year doesn't have to be that all-consuming task when you're delegating with some trust and organization and really surrounding yourself with good people that can carry on the message, because we're all in these positions because we care about the sport, we care about the kids. We also all want to be successful, be it growth and participation or in the record books and in championships. But it's really important, I think, to surround yourself with people who are going to carry out that message. And so I think that leads to my next thought to wrap up this segment is to develop and reflect on your core values. What's important? Are you just there to coach the season, or are you there to build something great? And we want to hire program builders in Spokane schools. We want to hire culture builders. I was listening to the radio recently, and we had Pete Carroll here for a long time as the Seahawks head coach, and now he's at the Raiders in Vegas. And our local stations were interviewing people and saying, do you know what to expect when you have Pete? And they're like, well, we know he's a player's coach. We know that he's somebody who's consistently been such a positive guy, and he has tons of energy. And one of our reporters, our radio guys said, yeah, you're also getting a culture builder, because he's going to take that team and he's going to build them into a culture of winners real quick. And not just because, we don't know if we all think the Raiders are the most talented team out there, but he's going to make them believe they are. And he's going to build that culture of trust and delegation and all the things that we've talked about. And we know that about Coach Carroll because he was our coach for a long time, took us to 2 Super Bowls. And so this is not something new, but it's something that we need to replicate at the high school level. And that's just really developing and reflecting on your core values. He cares about the experience of his players. We need to care about the experience of our players as well. So just a reminder to find the joy in the journey. Our coaches often say it's really hard. It's a really hard job. There's so much technology and there's so much paperwork and there's just so many things to do. And they're lucky if a bus shows up on time, although we've had some really good luck with that the last couple of years. So we don't have that concern quite as much. But reset when things aren't going your way. And reset meaning decide if you want to do this or not, or reset and remind yourself of what your core values are, because you decided to do this for a reason. And if you forget that and you lose sight and you feel negative all the time, figure out why that is. Succeeding is fun. How you get there means a lot as well. Expectations of competing with class on and off the field. A lot of people thrive in character building exercises with their team. And that's something that we really want. We want those ejection reports to decrease. We want kids to feel good. Even in times of loss or in times of winning, they need to do it with class on and off the field. And then set goals that you also hold yourself to. I know we've had a couple of reports that I just mentioned from a school that we have, and the coach is just baffled. And I thought, well, he's one of our more vocal coaches, and so maybe he needs to reset on, what the values are because we're teaching kids at a really important time in their existence how to act. And so using that as kind of your North Star and calibration is pretty important as well. So I think when you're finding moments of frustration and stress, developing and reflecting on those core values will help you reset. And so that's what we spent a lot of time talking about in the first session. And then in the second session, we'll talk a little bit more about communication and some other pieces of building a championship program.
Boy, you probably saw me scribbling notes down like crazy. Just some really cool stuff. And again, whether you're an athletic director listening and you want to share some of this with your coaching staff or you're a coach to share with your student athletes, every single thing that Stephanie just shared with you, it's proven successful if you do it, and it didn't cost you anything. So great stuff. Stephanie, you are going to come back later in the season. We're going to record another one. But right now, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out, pick your brain a little bit more, find out how you do things with your coaches and your ADs at Spokane, what's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, definitely email. I'm at stephaniesp@spokaneschools.org. And then I'm a big Instagram fan, which I will be talking about in the next session with our communication. I'm at Steph S268. If you know anything about the 200 meters, that's a freshman PR that I had. So that 268. So Steph S268. I got faster. Don't worry, Jake. I got a little faster after that. But would love to reach out that way. And then SpokaneSchools.org is a great resource and has a lot of the different pieces. Our athletics and activities department has a site there.
And Stephanie's also, I'll say, fairly active on LinkedIn and other social
Yep. Oh,
media
LinkedIn,
platforms.
absolutely. That's new for me, but I do love connecting with people on LinkedIn. I've had some good connections from you, Jake, on that, and that's been really cool.
Well, Steph, thanks again for sharing with our listeners. All the best. Can't wait for your next segment. So we're definitely going to get you back on the podcast.
Great. Thanks so much.
For our listeners, we want to say thanks to you and just remind you that we upload the Zoom recordings of every interview to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you tuning in for this Toolbox Extra. Come back next time for another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. Wow, great stuff from Stephanie Splater. Before we go, let's give a shout out. Some great stuff from our sponsors. Gipper. Go to Gipper.com. Start creating world-class graphics for your social media site. Gipper.com. We want to say thanks to Huddle. I used it as a football coach, as an AD. We were a Huddle school. Go to Huddle.com. Ohio University and their online masters. Check them out. ohio.edu/info/MAA. Home Campus, you've heard me say before, it's a platform you're going to use every single day. That's homecampus.com. Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. It's the best purchase I ever made as an AD. What more do you want to hear? Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Hometown, it's not just ticketing anymore. Go to hometown.com, find out all the things that Hometown can do for you and your school. Snap Raise, talking about not just anymore. It's not just fundraising anymore. Go to snapraise.com. Check out their suite of platforms. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. If you're not using a survey, you're really missing out. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Get one of their consoles in your gym. I'm telling you, it's going to turn into a magnet. Thanks again for listening to the podcast. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD.